Okay, well, I didn't really want to do this. I'm not much into making the videos here, but it's been a long time. It's been about a month, and you can see what's going on with the scaling off. If you've looked at the other videos, and you should, because there's no way I can go back and go over all of it, and this has changed remarkably. And I suppose it's been about maybe September or October, I forget. I started making the videos. Before that, I was just taking pictures and putting them on my laptop, still shots. I had been picking at this dead skin on my fingers for a long time. It's been now, I started Thanksgiving 2 years ago. I realized I had a problem. It was a year before I looked on the internet and found out they actually called this psoriasis of the nails. I didn't know what it was. I just knew I had a problem. And what I found out was that nobody really knows what's going on. I haven't seen anything on the internet that leads me to believe that doctors have a clue. And doctors go to medical school to learn medicine. Unlike Greta Thunberg or whoever, they don't go to school to teach the professors. They go to school to learn. So if they don't learn it in medical school, guess what? They don't know it. So, and if they go out into practice and they haven't got an independent idea of what they're looking at, they only know what they've been taught, they can look at stuff like this and have not clue one what they're looking at. So there are about a dozen drugs that I've seen that they prescribe for psoriasis of the nail. As far as I can tell from looking at the pictures on the internet, they have only a very mild cosmetic effect. And the doctors themselves, and I've read several of them, dermatologists, and they basically say, well, they don't do a lot of good, but it's all we got. So I don't think people understand really what they're looking at. Now, I just had, this morning on this finger right here, I just had that where it's red there. That was just laminated skin and a piece of the outside of the nail. And if you want to look, you can see right here. This is part of a cover nail that's now gone. And the back part of it came all the way around here. And it was buried down in skin. So even though this part had come off, this remnant of the top nail was still here. And it started to divide. It was lapped up over right like that. And when I was picking out dead skin here in the last couple of weeks, this started to divide and flake off. And when it did, it goes down to living tissue back here. So I didn't want to just yank it out. So that's part of the deal, is you can see, I'm sorry about the light. This is the early morning light, and I don't have media. I could put if I was still working in film, I could put a sheet of 216 over that window and blow the light out and make it a soft light, but I can't do that, so I'm stuck with the shadows from the blinds. But given that this now has flaked off, this was all completely covered this morning, and all of it looked like nail. It all looked like this, only it extended back to here. Okay, but it had been dividing out, it had been fracturing along this line. This part had already eroded away, all the way over to here. This is all gone. And now you can see this other nail material here. It's hard to tell when you're going backwards in the process and you're trying to reverse engineer. It's hard to figure out sometimes what's actually been going on. But this looks like it's new nail material. And it just is, the reason it's come out here is because it was blocked here by the other old nail. And it's not going to come out, it's not going to force its way out of this stuff, the side nail, the old nail, the cover nail, is actually the skin had built up over it on the side. and the edge of it was buried down in living tissue. This tons and tons and tons of dead skin and cuticle material have come out in order for this to have been eventually exposed. And it's only after something is exposed that it will start to turn loose. So now this flake, this morning, with very little help, it decided to come on out. Maybe I'd pulled out some more dead stuff on the side here, you know, just peeling it out. But eventually, this was relieved enough where this flake popped off. And now you can not only see, you can see down in there, you should be able to tell that this is all dead skin over here. You see this? This is all dead skin. And it's built up and up and up over the front. And this is pushed right up against it. So when this nail formed, this stuff may not have been under it before, but there was plenty of junk under the nail because this cover nail formed to cover over damage that had already been done, where I had been biting my fingernails. And maybe this had been bitten, maybe I'd had it bitten all the way back to here. And the cuticle skin formed all the way over here. And everything that built up over it was not actually attached to the nail bed. I've known that for quite a while, but I didn't, because this is a reverse engineering process, it's not always absolutely clear to you. It's not self-evident. So I had been saying, if you watch some of these older videos, I said, well, you see my fingernails are eroding off now. And they used to be way out here. They used to extend way out past all of this dead material, all of this dead skin. And I understood parts of that. It was okay. And I was saying on the video, I was saying, well, we're just into it now. And so eventually I said, we're just going to, without pushing it, I'm going to let these nails erode off. And I said, I've given up hope that I will be able to save anything. I assume that all of this old damage will have to come off, and all of this dead skin and all of the old nails will have to go away before I'll have new nail material able to come out and form on the nail bed, in direct contact with the nail bed, the way it's supposed to be, and have ordinary, normal-looking nails again. All of this stuff will have to go away. Well, I was right about all of that. But I was saying in the video, I was saying, I'll just let these nails erode off, and I'll keep picking at them like that, and I'll peel them back and peel them back and peel them back. And eventually, I said, I'll come to the nail bed. All right, that's the part I wasn't getting. Because I understood, and if you've looked at the older videos, you've heard me say that this is the cuticle is one continuous piece, like the hem of your trousers. And I understood that this had been building up forward and forward and forward as the cuticle, old dead cuticle material built up, layer after layer after layer, that it was covering the nail bed from the back. And I understood that it had built up on the sides until it had overlapped the nail and trapped the nail and captured it. And that the cuticle material was still building up and up and up and up. And so I more or less understood that it was coming over the nail bed on the side also. That's how it trapped this cover nail. The cuticle material just overlapped the nail after that top nail formed and kept building up and up and up. And this stuff was all mixed. It was a composite of cuticle and nail material that had formed over this old top nail. But when this shed here, this remnant of the old top nail, this like horseshoe-shaped piece, it stayed there. Sorry, it's really hateful with the lighting. But so this is really it's pretty complicated. But and so there were parts of it I got and parts of it I didn't get. And what I didn't get was that this skin on the front of my finger, which I've been referring to as flubber and like Smeagol fingers, you know, where you have the nails bitten all the way off and you have this big rubber bumper around. I got that the nail bed was covered by dead cuticle skin here, And I got that since the dead cuticle skin had built up over the nail bed on the sides here, what I didn't realize that I wasn't going to find nail bed by letting the nails erode off back and back and back here, because actually the nail bed is under here. I'm already past the nail bed. The nail bed is here. It's under here somewhere, but this dead skin has lapped up over it. Before all of this nail was here, I was biting my fingernails, and the cuticle skin covered the nail bed maybe up to here, maybe up to here. And nothing that's come out since then has actually been in contact with the nail bed. I found this out. It's just a matter of realization. I should have known. I knew parts of it, right? But I have had these things on my thumb. I've had the same thing with these horseshoe nails here. Remnants of old top nail, they come all the way around. So I was picking at this stuff one day, and I had a situation like this, only it was on my other thumb, and it was a honker, you know. It was really, really thick, like this, you know, and it was, you know, maybe a 1/16 of an inch wide, and it wrapped all the way around from here, back around to here. And one day, just a piece of it from right here to over here, it popped off. And instead of it being laminated on top, like this, it was more like it had just been formed out in front of whatever remnant of nail is back here. And so it was a separate chunk entirely. And it divided not on a bevel where it would flake off like that, but it just popped out, and it left a space between this nail and this flubber. And when it came out, I could see all the way down there a 1/16 of an inch, and what I saw was the nail bed. So what I didn't get was this. I got this part right. This is all one piece. And as these nails erode off, now you can start to see the cuticle line is actually circular, like a bathroom drain. But it's been obscured here. Well, the nail is trapped here. It's under the skin here. It's trapped here where the cuticle material is built up over it. It has not been trapped in front, but that's just because it's a fingernail and you're paying more attention. Guess what? This explains what I said about, you see those girls with the little toenails, and the toenail looks like it's like a chiclet or an M&M that's been pushed down in cookie dough, and there's skin all the way around. Well, that happens on your toes probably because you're not paying attention to it like you pay attention to your fingers. And the skin has overlapped the nail, not just here, and not just here, and not just here, but here also. And this cuticle material has built up and up and up until it overlaps the nail all the way around. And then it's just like a stepping stone in a Japanese pond in a heavy rain, because the cuticle material continues to build up and up and up. And the part of the nail you can see diminishes, is just like a camera irising down or a follow spot. When they shut off the light, the circle gets smaller and smaller and smaller. So you see these tiny little nails, and they've got skin all the way around them, right? So that didn't happen here because when my nail was bitten off all the way back here, the nail started growing out, the skin formed. The cuticle skin formed over the nail bed, all the way up to there to protect it. And then when the nail material started to come out, it came out over that. And then it did it in successive interleaving layers. And it built up and up and up and up like that. But the nail was still escaping to the front. You don't see what's going on. So, but the nails that built up after that point, they have never been firmly attached to the nail bed, only back here somewhere. And the truth is that this dead skin, this dead cuticle material, has encroached on the nail bed, not just back here and not just on the sides, but on the front also. It's just the nail is actually escaping to the front. The skin never built up after when my nails were bitten off that short enough to let the skin overlap the front and continue to build up and up and up and up. If it had, it really would have Smeagol fingers. This skin would be continuous all the way around. It would have captured the top nail all the way around, and I would watch the nail just disappear down into the skin, the dead skin, as it built up. The only reason that didn't happen is because the nails were still allowed to escape to the front, but they were escaping over built up dead cuticle material that had already formed years and years and years ago. And so now that I'm letting these nails scale off, now that they're coming back, the nail bed is actually under here. It's out here somewhere. The nail is going to scale on back. All of this crummy old built up nail material, all of this, it's all going to come off. But it's not true as I was thinking. It's just rather stupidly. I thought, well, I'm going to take off this dead skin and this dead skin and this dead skin, and the nail is actually going to be starting to form back here once all this overburden is removed. And so I said the length of my nail will be restored, but I knew as I was letting this stuff scale off that there was a limit, because when it gets back to here and all of this dead skin is gone and I'm still scaling off, I said, so are my nails really only going to be that short? You know what I mean? I didn't realize that the nail bed was under there. I thought I was going into a process where eventually I would get back to the nail bed. I'm already back to the nail bed. It's just the nail bed it's a depth problem, not a length problem. So all of this nail is built up over dead skin and cuticle and nail that's all buried underneath these top nails. But all of it has to come off. But when it's all finally exposed, and this flubber, which is just callus material, and you can start to see it now. When all of this is exposed and it starts to erode away, the skin is going to come off and it's going to expose the nail bed all the way out here. And then when this skin, this overburden is gone, and this overburden is gone, and this overburden is gone, and finally, this huge wad of callus material that's been building up on the front of my fingers, when it goes and uncovers the nail bed, then the nail will be the right length. It'll be from back here, wherever it is, all the way out here to wherever the nail bed was when it first started to be covered by dead cuticle material. It doesn't matter. I just wasn't looking at it in profile, and I knew that the nail was sticking out over dead skin, but I still didn't realize. I still didn't realize that the nail bed was all the way out to here. I thought it was going to scale back, and eventually, when the nail got far enough back, when enough of this old dead material came off, that suddenly I would come to the nail bed. Not until I get deep enough. It's not a matter of back and back and back and back. It's a matter of how deep you're going. So the nail bed is underneath the nail, but it's all the way out here. So it's under all this dead skin. And it's just that this nail that's built up has never been, from the time I was a child, has never been in actual contact with the nail bed. The nail bed was overwhelmed a long time ago by this dead cuticle skin that formed over it when my nail was bitten off when I was 5 years old or 6 years old. The skin formed over the nail bed, and it's built up and up and up from there. It's not just a matter of scaling the nail back until you come to nail bed. I thought that it would be here to here. My nail would be here to here. You know what I mean. It's hard to think in reverse. But now it's coming off. And now I can see. This is the thumb where it popped off. It's popped off over here. This was a big honking horseshoe nail that went all the way around from here to here. There's part of it still there. the cover nail, that'll scale off. But this part over here was just like a cliff face. And when it came off, it came out. It came up, and it left a void that went all the way down to the nail bed, and I could see it. And I could see that this dead skin is wrapped up over it. There's a clear separation between the front of the nail and the dead cuticle skin. And I could finally see what was going on. This has been a remarkable process, you know, the realizations that go with it. So we have now, with this coming off this morning, you can see there that this is all, you can see all of this. All of this is dead skin, every bit of it. When this comes off, you know, that could be skin, it could be a nail, it could be one or the other, it could be both, it could be interleaved, you know. So when this comes off, I keep saying, you know, well, here's the nail, and you can see where the cuticle line goes underneath the nail. And what I didn't realize is that the nail bed is already, it's way out here. And all of this is over the nail bed. All of the dead skin is over the nail bed. And if I had kept my nails short, it's possible that the skin would have overlapped the nail on the front as well as on the sides and on the back. And in that case, I would watch my nails get smaller and smaller and smaller as the skin built up, as the dead cuticle skin built up. That's what you see going on with these girls that have the tiny little toenails that look like the toenail is, you know, just like a cookie with a little chip of candy in the middle of it that's pushed down. The skin is actually trapped the nail in front as well as on the sides and at the back. And the whole thing, and the nail bed is still under there in the proper dimension, but the skin is building up and up and up, and the nail appears to get smaller and smaller and smaller. And their nails are truly stoppered. No nail material is getting out or off. And so, but that's why their feet are so swollen and their toes look so swollen. I saw a guy on the bus the other day, and his fingers were fat like mine were. And I could actually see the white lumps. It was hard to see them. His fingers were very full and very white. And when he flexed his fingers, it stretched the skin here, and you could see his knuckle, but you could see that everything else was puffy. And it was like his knuckles were submerged in all of this fat. And you could see the lumps of white underneath the skin, but you couldn't see them on the fingers because the fingers were too full of dead cell material that's been stoppered up in his fingers and unable to get out. And his fingers and his fingernails looked absolutely normal, except sometimes the people don't even realize that they've got psoriasis of the nail. They'll just have a little shred of dry cuticle material around here, and their nails will look fine. Their nails will look absolutely normal. But if their cuticles are glued down to the nail is not moving out as it should. And it's going to be causing this dead, you can see the white underneath there. This dead cell material is accumulating under the skin. It's stoppered up. It may not be 100% stoppered up, but it's stoppered up. And if you get to the point where it's 100% stoppered up, then your fingers are going to swell up like sausages. And this guy I saw on the bus, he was actually, and I've seen guys that have had an arm amputated. And I think it all comes from this. I think they've let the waste get trapped in their bodies where it can't get out. If my nails, some of this nail material was still getting out, obviously, because it was making these top nails. But if it had been trapped, if the skin had overlapped this all the way around, and then that profile just got smaller and smaller and smaller, eventually, absolutely nothing would have been getting out, and I would have just watched my fingers swell up and up and up and up. And this guy I saw on the bus, his fingers were so fat that his knuckles were not visible unless he flexed his fingers. And then you would see it push up out of this fat material all the way around. And I could only see the white lumps, but I could only see them on the back of his hands. I couldn't see them on the fingers because the fingers were too full, and they were dead white, like dead skin, like skin that's been cauterized. If you've ever seen anybody that was electrocuted, their skin will be, there's no blood in the, it's cauterized the blood vessels, and there's no color. The color of the fingers will be absolutely white. So my fingers, you're not going to see this because of the shadows are a bad problem. But my fingers are a lot thinner, and they're still fuller at the back. And some of them are fatter than others. More material has come out. Depends on each individual finger. Some of these have shed more material than others. And some of them, and you can see that. You can see that looks like a blister. This is dead cell material underneath my skin. All of this stuff eventually will get out. I don't know how, but all of this has to go away first, because it runs up. If that's a remnant of an old top nail, a half moon that runs all the way around, and it's buried in dead skin up here, it's not moving. So any of this material that's actually moving up is just, it can't push that off. This has become fossilized. So this doesn't have enough force to push this stuff off in front of it. So where it's coming out, it just bubbles up. And if I don't go ahead and get all this dead material off, the skin and the nail, then this stuff will just form a new cover nail over that. I'll be right back where I started. I'll have a nice looking nail. I can stop anytime I want to. And in 3 weeks or 4 weeks, because this new nail material will form, I'll start to look like I've got decent nails again. But I will not have fixed the problem. The problem is intractable until you get all the dead skin off and all the old dead nail material off, and your nail bed is able to accept new nail material in its full dimension, the way it's supposed to be. So this is what you see. This is going to come off. All of this back here, this is going to come off. This is a crust right here. And if this were to all come off, then you would see that this is flubber that's just rolled up. And that's why, part of the reason I haven't made any progress. When I look at these in profile, when I look at these dead on from the front, they still look like they're completely buried in dead skin, and they are. Because there's so much stuff back here. There's so much old dead cell material that's built up in my fingers that it continues, no matter how much you take off, it continues to just roll up and around like a roll of fat. It just comes back and comes back and comes back. And even though I'm taking off layer after layer after layer, more just rolls up and rolls up and rolls up. Eventually, I'll turn the tide, eventually I'll reverse the process. I'll get enough of it off where I'll start to actually see this drop. But you can see now, where was that? This one. You see how this has come down over here, okay? So, but this, you can tell now, you can see that line. All of that. It's not just this, but this too. All of this is dead cuticle material that's built up in hundreds of layers of paper-thin skin. And it's all dead. It's probably the actual profile of the nail is not actually much wider than the nail bed or the nail. And all of this is surplus. And it's all got to come off. And when it does, I'll finally start to make progress, because this, if you look at somebody who's never had this kind of nail damage, their nail is exposed down to there. And that means that all of this has to come off. This is all dead. But it's not just from here up. It's that thick all the way around. That's why I saw this guy, and he had actually managed to pull the whole pad loose, and he had peeled it back. But he had the nail. He hadn't done anything about the nail, so the nail was still sticking out over it in front, way out here. But he had managed to pull this loose, and the whole, it was just like a rubber glove or something. He had pulled the whole, you know, a 1/16 of an inch thick piece of skin that was just as solid, as big as his whole finger, and he had just peeled it back. It had come loose all in a piece. I've been scaling it off one layer at a time, but he had managed to pull the whole thing loose. And you can get into some living tissue there, you know, if you're not careful. He was really lucky that it came off just like an applique. But what do you do? Because back here, you know, he would have to just take it and cut it, and try not to get into wherever it gets close to living tissue. It was extremely strange to see. But this, you can see here, that this is all just like this. This is all hard. This is dead. This is callous. And it's all hard as it can be. And it's going to come out too. But you see that this, it goes all the way around. So, and it goes under that. And what I hadn't realized is I'm not taking this off and off and off and off and off until I get back to the nail bed. The nail bed is actually under here. All of this buildup has rolled up and over the front and covered the nail bed. And I'm just lucky that my nails, some nail material was getting out over it in front, because it's entirely possible that you can have this cuticle material build up and trap the nail all the way around. And then, just like those little tiny toenails, you'll see this profile get smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller until the nail just disappears in skin. And then you have really drawn the drawstring tight on the duffel bag. And that nail is going to act like a plug. And none of this nail material, none of this, you can still see this white stuff under my skin. It's not all, it's not come out yet. There's years and years and years of it built up here. But my fingers are much, much less swollen than they were even 3 or 4 months ago. Hope I'm not boring you. See what we got. More and more and more and more. So what you got to do is you got to take it back to where you first started biting your fingernails. Everything that built up over your nail bed, you can see that already made a difference. I mean, just visually in what you can see. And this is just all flubber. If I were to peel this off, it might hurt, because it might take off this huge hunk and it might expose the nail bed right there in front. But that doesn't mean that the nail bed just starts way back here. The nail bed is here, and it's under here, and it could be even under out here somewhere. You won't know till all this junk comes off. But you can start to see what's going on. Ooh, boy, I got it there. You see? That'll bleed. See that? But it doesn't change anything. This is just all sitting on top of the nail bed. We're getting there. It gets a little dicey when you get down here close to living tissue. But I have been peeling dead skin off. Dead skin and old, dead, embalmed nail. You can see the separation there. This just wrapped up and over. It's over the nail bed. The nail bed could be out here. Out here. Don't know exactly where it is. because it's just completely entombed until all of this all is gone. Every bit of it. All of this old material. I don't have a prayer. But this of getting new nails that look actually right. I can go back, I can stop anytime, and the nail material that is getting out will come out plastic. It will come out fluid. It will fill up these depressions. You know, this white liquid. I found this out. It's this weird thing because now I'm getting to the point where these composite nails, say I bit this off over here, right? Well, this, you can almost see the line. So, as I go down in the layers, I'll see this over and over again. This was all chewed off over here. And then this piece, either skin or some nail material formed or something, and it covered that nail bed where it was exposed. And then a whole new nail will form over it. So, but the composite, this piece and this piece and this piece, that are all separate, where they've been bitten off separately, they all stay separate. It's the top nail that forms that kind of binds it all together. So as I'm peeling this stuff off, I'll get down to a point like this where the top nail comes off, or the center part of the top nail comes off, and then I'll see that I've got a nail here that's separate from the nail over here. This little piece is just tacked on. So then, if this peels off, sometimes it'll crack right here, and you can tell it'll be just like that. And it goes down to living tissue, to the nail bed. It was a composite always of two different things. So when it cracks on that line again, like an old break in a teacup or something that's been glued back together, when that separates, you can get some real pain. And you may not be ready to dig this out. This may all the way be buried way down in there. The edge of this top nail, it's the part that's got left, you know, the remnant that runs all the way around here, or all the way around here. It's buried in layers and layers and layers of skin. You don't want to pull it out because it's going to bleed and it's going to hurt. It's more material that you want to take out at the time. But if you leave it alone and you don't do anything, what will happen is this new nail material that's liquid, it will seep out in that crack and it will fix it. In a day, tomorrow, you won't even notice. You won't even notice it. You have to have to start paying attention. You have to learn about things that you haven't known, that you haven't paid attention to. But that nail material will come out liquid, and it'll come out underneath where it cracked, and overnight it will solidify because it hardens up like epoxy when it hits the air. But it will seep out, and it will glue those two pieces back together, and tomorrow it won't hurt. It'll be fixed. And if you go ahead and you say, I'm not going to pick any more this dead stuff, I'm just going to forget it, I'm okay with it, then a whole new nail will form over all this mess, and it will start to make it look like a regular nail again. If any nail material is getting out at all, and it will, because it's not trapped on the front. It's only trapped on the sides and on the back. So some material is getting out, and it will come out, and you'll see these bumps start to go away. They'll start to level out, just like you'd poured out floor wax on an uneven floor. And it'll be thicker some places, and it'll be thinner other places. And once it gets to be a uniform, it'll put a lacquer wash over the whole thing, and it'll look fine. It won't be a uniform depth. It'll be underneath. It will be thicker here and thinner here. But it will, on the top, it will all be smooth and regular looking. And only after all of this material is gone and new nail material comes out in direct contact with the nail bed, then you'll have nails of uniform thickness. Until then, you've just got stacks and stacks and stacks of irregular nails that have built up over the nail bed. You can see this all gonna come off. Right, this is separate. It's gonna come off. And all of this skin here, this is all dead skin. And this isn't the first go-round. You know, if you watch these other videos, I've been doing this for months and for two years and 3 months at least. And that's just dead skin. And it goes all the way back around up here. And this is built up. As it built up, my nail bed is back here somewhere. When all of this dead skin is gone, my nails will start back here. And they'll go to wherever the front of the nail bed is, and then you'll have a little bit of a projection that you're supposed to take out. But all of this stuff that's built up on them, you'll see people, their nails look normal, but the skin is overlapping the nail up here. All of that has to go away. Unless you've got a nail profile where it drops down, where the nail is cylindrical shaped, and the nail is visible all the way down to here, then your whole nail is embalmed in skin, dead cuticle. And all of this is going to come out all the way around here, all the way down to here, all the way around here, all the way down here, all the way around here. And then it'll curl back up, almost square. It makes an almost square corner. It doesn't come down like this. And it doesn't come all the way out here, up like that and out. It can look normal when it's all the way filled up to there. You just don't realize what you're looking at. See what else? And you can see this is all this flubber. Every bit of it. This is layers, hundreds of layers of skin, and it all has to go away. And it's exposing now, and it won't until this nail scales back, and it'll expose. And when it exposes this front edge, then you'll be able, then it'll start to dry up, and you'll be able to scale it off like that. Right? Layer after layer after layer. You can see that layer's exposing right there, right? But there's no telling. I thought we were going to go back and back and back and back, and eventually I'd come to nail bed. But it's likely that there's nail bed under here, and the skin has just built up over the nail bed in front. I'm just lucky that any nail material was getting out at all, because if it gets trapped all the way around, then this is acting, then whatever remnant of nail you've got in there is actually acting like a dead plug, like a cork. And this whole finger is going to be stoppered at that point. And everything that, all the dead cell material that's trying to move out of your body and off, it's going to all just back up and pile up and pile up and cram and cram and cram and cram in here, and your nails, your fingers are just going to swell up like sausages. And they're going to turn white, and then you won't even see your knuckles anymore. This guy I saw his knuckle was here, and it's just huge. He just had a little wrinkle. If you looked at it, his fingers were swollen, and he just had a little wrinkle of skin, you know, like that. Just a tiny little crease right there. And you could tell that it was, this is just massive fingers swollen up. And you couldn't see his knuckle at all until he did that. And then there would be a circle around like this, and you could see that this was all fat. You know, it just looked like like I said, I used to do convention, and they sell chicken fat in bags as an additive for food. And that's exactly what it looked like. It just looked like a bag of chicken fat. And you couldn't even see his knuckle until he took and flexed his fingers like that and stretched the skin. And it would part, and his knuckle would pop out of the bag of fat. I have the same thing going on here still, but the lighting is really horrible. But you can see under here, sometimes, let's see if I can even see one. They move around now. You can see that this is thinner. The front of part of the finger is much thinner. It's still fat back here on the back. But you'll see that these will have like little blisters. They'll look like little water blisters or something under the skin. So stuff is breaking up, and but the more there is in there, the less you'll be able to tell it. But that's where that white color, if that separation is coming there, that white color, the more stuff gets in there, the more it fills up a layer between the tissue and the skin, then the whiter your fingers are going to look, because you're seeing this dead material, like a callus material, and there are no blood vessels in it, so you're not going to get a pink color. It's obscuring the living tissue underneath. That's kind of one of the ways you can tell you got a problem. And I actually had white. I could see it on the bottoms of my fingers also. I'm sorry about the lighting. It's just kind of the time of year. But you see all of this, all of that is dead. That's all callus. Until it all goes away, all the way back to there, all of this dead skin comes off. I haven't even gotten started yet. Ooh. I took out bunches of junk this morning, just idly picking. I always keep these tools sitting where I'm just sitting around watching, TV or whatever. You keep these tools sitting right there, and because it'll start to irritate you. And here's another thing. I've suspected for years that I would have like some kind of a sensitivity or a rash or something. I always thought that I was like a herpes or something. I thought I was susceptible to like getting rashes. I didn't get rashes, but I would itch. I have this tendency to want to rub my fingers in between here, do this, rub my fingers like that. As this stuff has started to empty out, it has made my fingers itch like crazy. And I think all of that stuff is tied together somehow. I think I was experiencing the irritation without being able to identify the cause. And that's what's made me massage my fingers. Because I have a real thing of wanting to do this. Just rub the web in between my fingers like that. And I think now it may be all of this dead cell material that's built up underneath my skin was an irritant, an unseen irritant, and I just didn't realize what was going on. You can see here that this still has a buildup, a collar of dead cuticle material around and back. No telling how long it'll go. Oh, and this one was really interesting because now here you can see this top nail that's coming off. You can see that. And you can see that they're just layers and layers and layers. That's one layer. And this is some more stuff. And then there's a side piece that's been formed in right down here. Right in there. Where I had bitten that off. And you see that arch there. Like that. This one may pop out. All in a piece. Like that. Get it? You think I don't know what I'm talking about. I've been doing this a while, guys. Look at that. See, that's where that's just laminated up over. When I was biting my fingers there and that was exposed, then the body wants to cover it and protect that exposed nail bed. So that's just, see, that's all, that dead skin has been in there for 40, 50, 60 years. Don't let this happen to you. If you're young, get on it, you know. Don't let this stuff build up like this because it's serious. I think this is why people have to have their forearm amputated. People I'm seeing on the bus now, I actually just talked to the first person, and I said, you know, go on the YouTube and look at some of my videos, dude, if you're interested. I'm not expecting to get much response. You know what I mean? Not like that. People don't realize his fingernails were beautiful. He probably couldn't believe looking at my fingers that there's any relation between what he's got and what I've got going on. He thinks I have psoriasis of the nails, and he doesn't. and his fingers are swollen up like pork sausages. I see these guys with their toenails now, all eroded. It's really ugly because it's the collateral damage. You know, I look at these pictures on the internet, and these people look like they've got boils. They've got the surface of their skin is obviously dead. It's cracked. It's discolored. It's coming off, and they're wearing these big boots, and their toenails are eroding, and they don't get that it's all just psoriasis of the nail. But they have this way. If you stopper this material up, think about it. You know, if you just put a plug in here, you know, it's like you tourniquet the end of your fingers, and you keep eating. You know what I mean? And the dead cell material keeps shedding every day and coming down here and piling up and piling up and piling up. Would it really surprise you that eventually it would erupt through the skin like a boil? That it would head up like a pimple and pop? Because I think that's what's going on. Some of these people, you see these really extreme cases. I think it all comes from this. I think it comes from stoppering up that dead cell material. I can't do this. This is not the right way to do this. I'm doing this by looking at the screen instead of looking at my fingers. It's a little dangerous all by itself. But see, that's gonna dig out. Sometimes you can get it like that if it's a big hunk, and just peel on it like that, and the whole thing will just roll out like that. That's all, you know. Don't worry, I'm not in pain. It's exposing living tissue down there. But unless I wash my hands with salt water, it's probably not going to hurt too bad. Because this is all just dead. Every bit of this is dead. And it's been there for 50 years. Underneath other skin, underneath my nails. And another thing, when I first started doing this, and I was peeling out continuous pieces of cuticle material all the way around, and pulling it out in strings, and I was come apart like I'd come in and there'd be like a nail flake here. It's before I figured out anything. And then we'd go back and back and back, and you know, I'd take out more material, there'd be another nail flake back here, and another one back here. And in the early videos, I would say, eventually I'm gonna go back and back and back, and I'll get the first nail flake back here in the corner or something, I'll pull that. I thought that would be like it. But that was before these top nails started eroding and coming off. And so it's actually built up way out here. So as these nails come off and you continue to take out material, then you don't just find a nail flake back here. you find another one here and here and here and here and here and here, and layer and layer and layer, because you were biting your fingers and these nail flakes were getting left as this nail got wider and wider and wider. As the skin built up and up and up and up, and the nail material built up and up and up and up, and it finally overlapped the skin and started to leak out, and you lost the profile of your nail, and the nails became paddle-shaped instead of parallel on the sides, like that, the way they're supposed to be. But when it builds up too high, then the nail material just leaks out over the dead skin, the dead cuticle material that's built up on the side. Then you'll get a nail flake and a nail flake and a nail flake and a nail flake, and it'll all be covered over by nails, these cover nails that form. And so you not only, when I first started doing it, I would have a nail, those nail flakes were going back and back and back and back and back. And then as these side nails started to come off, the nail flakes I started finding them here, 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 one after another. Have one nail flake and then a little piece of skin and another nail flake and another piece of skin, over and over and over and over and over again. And now I'm pulling out whole pieces of nail that are buried up under here, that are semicircular, where this top nail has come off, but it's left a remnant of the nail all the way around, which is buried. And the reason it doesn't shed off with this is because it's entombed in the skin, and the skin is not turning loose until you pick it out. Once you pick it out, then it'll shed. Then it'll shed off. It's okay, you don't have to believe me. I don't know what I'm doing. Dead skin. And that could be skin or it could be nail. I mean, you can't necessarily always tell. It's interleaved. You know, the skin, cuticle skin formed over, and then nail comes out over it, and then, rinse and repeat, like they say. So you can see that, right? And now you can see that this comes all the way around. This came out, there was a plug right there that just came out, unless I was just rolling my finger like that, and a little plug popped out. And now that's all that reveals that this is another layer. It all looked solid. It could have been nail. It could have been anything there. This all looked uniform, right down to there. And then that clump of dead, fossilized, callus material or dead cuticle material, it popped out. And now it's going to allow that edge to erode. You can start to see the difference between the nail, the layers of the nail, and the layers of the skin. You see? But all of this was laminated over in one big smooth thing. When this cover nail, when the top cover nail that's not there anymore, when it came off, this was all just smooth. And it was completely filled up all the way around there. And this layer of skin that's on the outside, it rolled all the way up to here maybe, right? And now that much of it's come off. But that doesn't mean that it won't roll back up like this, because all of this is dead. And not only that, but now, now, I lost my train of thought. I'm about to lose battery. Just about to lose it. Oh well, we'll catch up to it next time. But you can see, This stuff is, all of these now that so much of material has come off, these fingers always felt normal. I had never thought I had calluses. I worked. I was a working person. I used my hand. I was surprised that I didn't have calluses on my fingers. I didn't realize that my whole finger was a callus. I've never had any feeling in my fingers. I never realized it. And this stuff, now, there's so much of this material has come off that I can actually feel that it's hard. It's become hard here. And I've got little pads of stuff that are on the tips of my fingers that are identifiably, this is all hard, all of it. I can feel it now where I never could feel it before. It's a tough, hard, callous skin. But it's only become apparent now that so much of it is scaled off. I'll let you go before my battery goes. I just wanted to, it's been a long time since I made a video, and I wanted to try to catch some of this stuff up. But you see those layers there. This top layer now is coming off, and there's another one underneath it and another one underneath that. And my nails are now starting to going to get narrower. As these side nails come off, the oval shape should disappear. I should be able to find where the real edge of the nail bed is, and the nail bed should be straight, parallel on each side. And all of this that's bellied out, this is all bogus. That's overlap, where the nail built up, overlap the cuticle skin on the side, that stack of nails. And this is still completely buried in dead skin, even though I've dug out and dug out and dug out, and I know I've taken out tons of material. It's got to go away. It's got to go all the way down to there, and all the way around there. All of that. But it's not just a matter of the depth. It's the whole. It's a 1/16 of an inch thick, all the way around. And all of this will get, the dimension of my finger will get much smaller. And my finger will actually, the skin will actually come here. All of this dead skin has to come off. Sorry about the lighting, guys. I'm supposed to be a lighting guy. I'm embarrassed. Later.